Thank you, Mr Speaker. And I rise now because it's incredibly unclear, even on the government's current procedure, whether we are even going to get an opportunity to move amendments in consideration in detail to this appalling legislation and even get an opportunity to be heard, because the government has decided in an autocratic way to decide that everything will just be gagged to 1:40 this afternoon. So on legislation that we've received at 8:45 this morning, with very limited time to consider, we're now in a situation of incredibly truncated debate. And for all the protestations from the coalition, the opposition, please, then support an adjournment motion. If not, it is hypocrisy to come in here complaining about not having enough time to consider legislation. Let's be clear for the Australian people what this legislation will do. It is a knee-jerk legislation that criminalises refugees who've already been through a broken system. Thank you to the opposition. And in many cases, it fails to recognise people's legitimate refugee claims and potentially forces people to return to countries where they face persecution and even death. There is no recognition that a lot of people that will be subjected to this have extensive and deep connections to Australia. It is completely unnecessary for this legislation to be pushed through. We know that there are many people that will be caught by this legislation that go vastly beyond just the knee-jerk reaction to the High Court decision. It's an extraordinary step to exclude entire nations from access to visa applications and to harm families, individuals, businesses and communities. Fundamentally, these laws place Australia at even greater risk of forcibly returning refugees to harm, including many refugees fouled by the fast-track system, which the Labor government agrees was unfair and flawed. But yet here it is continuing with an unfair and flawed process and system. We must do better, and bring on the next election as soon as possible, because the Labor government will certainly be judged on the legacy of this. Now, because I have no idea if I even will have an opportunity to move the consideration in detail, I'd like to point out to the Australian people and the House that I will seek to move an amendment in relation to at least trying to protect women that are facing domestic violence and homelessness situation, who have increased vulnerability to deportation. Women who are on a removal pathway who are experiencing domestic violence and abuse might find it challenging to comply with directives aimed at facilitating their removal from Australia. Obtaining a passport or attending meetings will prove incredibly difficult. There's a fear of seeking help. For requirement for mandatory cooperation with removal efforts and the associated penalties for non-compliance will deter women in abusive situations from seeking help. We already know that COLD women face additional barriers to reporting, partly due to their fears in relation to their visa status. Now, we hear a lot from every party, especially the Labor Party, around domestic violence, raising the rights of women, and yet you're trashing them again with this bill, unless the government is going to agree to the amendment at the very minimum to ensure people that are subject to domestic violence and homelessness are going to be protected from the provisions in this legislation. It has an impact on legal proceedings. You are trying to circumvent the role of the High Court. Women facing domestic violence are often required to navigate legal processes, such as applying for protection orders, custody of children. The legal process through the family court can be lengthy and result in orders that children remain in Australia to have contact with a parent or citizen parent, whilst the mother, most likely the primary carer, will face expulsion from Australia. This legislation entitles you to require her removal while the children are ordered by the court to stay here. Is that seriously your values, members of the ALP? Seriously? Is that what you go to your communities with and say, that is what I'm going to do if you put me in government?
Order. In
there are no
accordance
safeguards.
with the